Starting live. Hey, we're live in 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Well, this is exciting stuff. Hi, everybody.
Live. Hey, we're live in 6, 5, 4,
Little delay.
2, 1. Well, this is exciting stuff. Hi, everybody.
Hey, everybody. It's Bruce here with Traveling with Bruce. Welcome to my live broadcast today. I've got some technical issues as I try to figure out what I'm doing. Welcome to January the 8th, 2018. It's my live broadcast. Here to talk to you today about what's going on in the cruise world, and hopefully some of you found me. I think I know what it is. One moment, folks. Put me on mute and I will be fine. All right, let's see. Hold on. Okay, I'm back. I hope I'm back. All right, sorry about that, folks. I'm still trying to figure out the logistics on my channel here on how to do live broadcasts. YouTube, as you regulars, you know how new I am at this. Starting this in August, here we are, January the 8th, coming up to the 5-month anniversary. 4 more days, and I will be at the 5-month anniversary of having my own YouTube channel. I don't know if I have a single viewer right now. It doesn't matter. This will appear as a regular video later today anyway. And so I want to go over a couple things. First of all, thanks to all my subscribers out there, all my viewers. I love you guys. I'll tell you, I think it was Friday in the afternoon, I did my last regular video. And at the time, I think it was at 215 subscribers, which in itself is unbelievable considering we were at about 70 the month before. This morning, just a few minutes ago, I took a look at my count on my 231 subscribers. So another 16 of you have jumped in and jumped on board to join my channel. Thank you very much. It's fantastic you're here. I'm so grateful. If any of you folks are joining the channel and you happen to notice me on there, one way you can let me know you're there is type in a little text message. Just say, hi, Bruce. Tell me where you're from. What town and state or country are you in? I have a little phone here, which is I'm watching to see if any texts come through. And I'll acknowledge you and let you know I see you. And if you can give me a thumbs up that the signal's working through, that would be great. I'll know this is working. Anyway, 231 subscribers. I think we cracked 36,000 views. The last 2 days, I've set records for views and view time. I think I had 2 850 view days back to back for Saturday and Sunday. Never had that happen before. The best days I've had have been in the last 4 or 5 days where I've been doing 650 views a day. And so this 200 view bump on the weekend was just fantastic. 30% more viewers in those 2 days. It's wonderful. And I'm now foreseeing the day where I'm going to hit 1,000 views in one day. That's unthinkable. From when I started in August, I was getting 10, 15 views a day. 5 subscribers, all relatives. So it's coming along, and it's just fantastic. I couldn't be more thrilled. I'm so happy how the channel is growing. Today, I wanted to talk to you about a couple things about cruising. I was mentioning in the title here on this live event that I was going to mention how to survive a storm at sea. I noticed the other day the news coverage coming out of New York. The Norwegian, I think it was the Getaway cruise ship. Came back to New York having plowed through a winter storm up the northeastern seaboard. They plowed their way up, and passengers were all shook up, and it was tough. Glasses are on because I see a text. Hanover, Pennsylvania. Paula, I see you. Thanks for joining my channel. This is fantastic. Thank you for watching my channel. This is great. You're the first one to text a live broadcast. You don't win a prize or anything, but what can I tell you? At least you're number one, and this is fantastic. Thank you so much for watching. and I hope you're enjoying my videos as crude as they are. This cruise I was just talking about, going to New York, oh man, these poor passengers. I think it was a ship holding up to 4,000 passengers. I don't know if it was full. I saw one news report saying 400 passengers were on board, and I just can't believe that only 400 passengers would have been on board this ship. I can't believe that. I might have been a typo, and maybe close to 4,000 passengers were on the ship. Plus, of course, the crew, and you'd have what 1,600 crew at least on a ship of that size. Anyway, the captain decided to plow through that storm, what was that called? The bomb cyclone. And, out at sea, there are no trees to break the wind. There are no mountains or hills to kind of break up it's flat, and the wind is just howling, and there is no mercy. And these cruise ships take a pounding. But what these people were talking about on board the ship is that they, how rough it was, and how, the ship was moving front to back, side to side. What they don't understand, or what they may not fully realize, is these ships that they build today, and in the last 30, 40 years, they're so sophisticated in their design. They can handle worse than that. As bad as that cyclone was, actually it's a cakewalk for the ship. And cargo ships, they plow through systems like this all the time, although they'll try to skirt them if they can, if they're able to. They have enough time. If they know that in 2 days they're coming up to the edge of a hurricane, they'll divert their route and try to get through lower type waves. I mean, what ship captain wants to go through the middle of a storm? Nobody. But these ships can handle more than this. I was going to mention today that I was on a cruise from New York to the Caribbean a couple of years ago on the Explorer of the Seas, which is a Royal Caribbean ship. We left Bayonne, New Jersey on a beautiful winter day. It was 58 degrees for the high. The bay in Manhattan, the whole harbor in New York was just glass, smooth as glass. And we thought, oh, this is wonderful. And we had heard there was a storm brewing, and it was going to come up the eastern seaboard. But I suspected that it was coming up through land. But no, it went offshore and came up through New York. So the next morning when we woke up, I had trouble putting my socks on and my underwear on and my pants on because of the movement of the ship. And we were in an inside room, so we couldn't look out to see what we were faced with that morning. And I'll tell you, we thought we would go for a walk and look around, and I didn't make it very far. I was out of that room for maybe 10 minutes, and I found one of those conveniently placed bags that the crew will put in certain places of the ship in case you don't feel well. We know what those bags are really called. Well, I took one of those, and whatever I had, I gave. I didn't have much because I hadn't had breakfast yet. And I knew right then I wasn't having breakfast this morning because I wasn't hungry now. And it was just terrible. So we worked our way back to our room, and I just wanted to lie down on my bed because I couldn't handle this movement, this constant movement. Not like it was severe. It was just this constant slow. And we would occasionally hear these sounds on the hull, boom, and it was a wave crashing on the hull. But the ship just plowed right through this stuff. The captain was on every hour to tell us the progress of what was going on, and he told us it was getting worse before it got better, but in the next 6-8 hours, we'd be through the worst of it, and then we would just keep right on going. The ship was moving 25 miles an hour into the storm. The storm was moving north at like 50, 60 miles an hour, so we were involved with 80-mile-an-hour winds with gusts up to 100 and up to 35, 40-foot waves. But the ship could handle that and more, but the people on board can't handle it. So all day long, I just stayed in my room. I found that if I laid on my left side, I wouldn't feel sick. If I tried to lay down on my right side, I would get motion sickness. So I lay down on my left side and, just slept a lot. It was so debilitating and tiring for me personally that I just slept, and I'd wake up a little bit and I'd sleep again. And again, no hunger pangs, and I didn't need to go into the bathroom. I had nothing to give, and I didn't want to put anything in. So the next morning, we woke up, and it was far better. It was so much better that we did go out, and we went to the buffet back of the ship, and I just nibbled on a few things. I thought I would really take it easy on myself, and so I got my coffee, and I was sipping a coffee, and I found some tomato juice with some salt on it. That always found that to be a good hangover cure. And I would sip on that, and then I found a bit of fruit, and I'd have a little bit and a little bit, and then when lunchtime came, I was hungry, and the ship now was much smoother. And the captain was telling us, we're through the worst of it. But the bad news was he had to slow the speed of the ship down because of the conditions. And by doing that, he, of course, made it easier on us as passengers, but we were going to miss our first stop. So out of New York, we were supposed to be at sea for 2 days and then make it to Labadee in Haiti, which is a private resort area that Royal Caribbean operates. We were going to miss it. We were going to get there at the speed we were going. We were going to get there at 5 in the afternoon, and we were supposed to leave at 6 in the afternoon that day. And we couldn't. You're not going to be there in dark, obviously. So we were going to miss Labadee. So what he ended up doing is he slowed the ship down even more, down to about 12 knots, and we, in a leisurely pace, meandered along. And in the afternoon of that second day, people were already out enjoying the sunshine because it was now 70 degrees. Because we were heading, quite a bit south, and the storm was up in New York. And the whole next day, which was supposed to be Labadee Day, was 80 degrees, 85 degrees with much smoother seas. Whatever waves were there, we didn't feel them because the ship was so huge that the stabilizers nullified it all. And we just, cruised along until we reached our second stop, which was the next morning on time, San Juan, Puerto Rico. And so that's where we ended up on our first actual stop. And it was warm and muggy and tropical was what we were looking for. And then the next day we went to St. Thomas, and then the day after that we did Saint Martin, and then 2 days back to New York. And thankfully, the first day back was warm. The second day back was cool because the further north we were getting, the cooler it was getting. But the storm was gone. It had long left the area because it had been a week ago that the storm had hit New York and Boston and the area. So by the time we got to New Jersey, we saw snow everywhere, but it was a sunny day, and it was about 45 degrees, 45 degrees, a bit windy, but smooth. And we woke up the morning of departure, and all was well. And so that's how I survived my day at sea in a terrible storm. It was about a day and a half. We all talked to each other, by the way, the passengers. This was the topic of discussion on board. And I met a few cruisers who have done, 15, 20, 30 cruises. And I said, have you ever been through a storm like this? And every one of them said, nope, this is the worst one we've ever been through. And we were all hearing rumors about there was some damage here, some tables fell over here, or somebody fell down there. But nothing was ever confirmed. And you never saw any serious physical damage to the ship. It's nothing like that. The crew was great. The medical staff was there. They were great. They were helping out if there were any needs. We all survived. I am looking at another message. Oh, hello, Crash 3X. I see your message. Thank you so much for checking me out. I love your comment. Love Labadee when they greet the ships, when jet skis and boats and horns usually stay on the ship while everyone is off playing. Yeah, you got it. When you're on a cruise and you get to port, like when I take a Mexican cruise, we stop in Cabo. And in Cabo, they don't have a port or a pier. You have to tender, get on a lifeboat. And I don't like being on the small little lifeboats. I don't like, jumping around like this on a lifeboat. So I stay on the ship. I find that out of the, the last one we were on the Princess cruise line. We had 25 or 2,600 passengers, I think was the number. And 1,800 of them got off the ship, left like 700 of us and the crew. And I'll tell you, it was great. There was nobody there. I went to the spa and there was nobody there. I had the jacuzzi to myself. the steam room to myself. It was fantastic. And my wife and I would, meet up in the buffet area or wherever we want to eat, and no lineups, and was fantastic. Just a great day off from all the other passengers. So, sometimes you want to get off the ship at a place like that. Sometimes you don't. And it depends on what are you there, what's the point of the cruise? If the point of the cruise is to relax and unwind from stresses of home or work or whatever, if a zip line ride will do it for you in Labadee, way to go. But if staying on the ship and just reading a book at the, where the pool is, and staying in your balcony suite and sitting on the lounger on your balcony and just looking out over the view. Remember, you're 10 to 15 stories up off the ground. You got a great view of the whole place. See, the ship isn't moving. It's absolutely still. You can't go wrong with that. So yeah, there's something to be said about staying on the ship and not even bothering to get off. Now, I wanted to mention today another little topic. I'm just looking for any other message. Matt. Hey, Matt. Hey, I see you. You're there. I'm here. Welcome to the broadcast. I wanted to mention today about how the atmosphere on a cruise ship changes depending on what day you're on the cruise. And those of you who've taken a cruise before, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Those of you who haven't, you're gonna feel this yourself. The first day, embarkation day, the day you get on the ship, that's an exciting day. I don't care what you say. If you're a veteran of cruising or you're a first timer, I find it's the same every time. First, you're all excited in the morning wherever you're waking up, whether you're in a hotel in the city that the cruise is leaving from, or whether you're driving in from somewhere else to the port city with either a rental car or your own car, or whether you're flying in. If you're flying in, it's nervous because you're hoping is going to get to the destination that you need to get to, and that you can get from the airport to the port, in plenty of time. I find that the most stressful because one flight delay, one mechanical issue with the aircraft, and you could be done for. And I just hate to putting myself in that kind of a position, because if I booked a 1-week cruise or a 10-day cruise, I'd hate to miss the ship. And then what do I do? How do I catch the ship now, or do I miss it? And what do I do for 10 days? I don't want to get into that position. Anyway, when you get to the port, it's all mayhem. It's complete mayhem. It looks like everything's out of control, but everything is actually kind of systematically working. But for those of you who've never seen it before, you're wondering, what the heck is going on? Cabs are coming in, buses are coming in, private vehicles, friends are dropping friends off at the pier, and they don't know where to do the drop-off zone. There are traffic people trying to keep the cars and trucks and buses moving. It's complete chaos. But we all want to get on that ship. And so it's an exciting time, those first few hours. We got Matt here. I crashed 3X, another comment. Bikini weather here in Ottawa, going to 1 degree Celsius. Yes, fantastic. Here in Creston, BC, we're +2. We're balmy. Absolutely wonderful. Anyway, when you're at the port, and you get your bags, and now you're trying to figure out, where do I take my luggage, and where do I hand it off so I can then go into the terminal to check in. Well, you figure it out. You'll see on the sidewalk where people are lined up and not lined up, and where the porters are. And you eventually get to a porter and you hand them your bags. Usually you'll have your bag tags printed off at home on your printer, and you'll have them stapled onto the handles of your luggage. And then you can hand off your bags and go from there. Paula, loved watching the Total Organized Day. That's amazing. That's right. So once you walk into the terminal, things calm down. And the good thing about these cruise lines is that they have done this, they do this all the time. Carnival, with all their different brands, they have 100-odd ships. How many cruises a week are they launching and, unlaunching and so on? They know exactly what to do. And they also have a pretty good idea of the seeing your face. When they look into your eyes, they know whether you're a first timer or not. They can tell. You're like walking around with like a deer with your eyes wide open. They know you don't know what you're doing. They're there to help you. They have all kinds of I think they call them ambassadors or greeters to guide you, and they ask you, they might ask you the name of your ship, or are you going on a cruise today with us? Great. They have their badges on, Carnival or Princess or Royal Caribbean, and then they'll find out where you need to go. And sometimes it's by your last name. Sometimes it's what kind of room you have. It all varies, but they'll guide you along, and you'll end up in a long line. And the next thing you know, the lineup is just moving. You'll find that when you get into the so-called check-in line, you'll see 30 check-in agents standing there. Not like the airport nowadays, where you're flying, American or Delta, and you got to do it all yourself, or you see 3 agents and there's 35 people in line. I hate that. Here, they want to get you on because they're trying to get on over 2,000 people, sometimes 4,000 people on a cruise in like a 3-4 hour window. That means efficiency and speed is the order of the day. So they'll have 30, 40, 50 check-in agents to take care of you. And their job right from the moment you get there is to make you happy and get you calm and keep you excited and not frustrated, because you've come to a cruise to get away from everything, not to get in the middle of a mess. Unlike the airport, where the further along the process, the more stressed you are. It's unbelievable. Let me just check my messages again. Porters and luggage handlers must feel like exotic dancers when they go to the bank with all the singles. That's true. When you're checking in and you're handing your bags to these guys, the porters, whatnot, I feel obligated to give them a couple of bucks. And yeah, if you're in the United States, you're getting those $1 bills. But in Canada, from Canadians, we only have loonies and toonies, but we don't generally board very many ships in Canada, obviously. But yeah, when you're in LA or Miami or Lauderdale, you're handing $1 bills. And these porters, at the end of their shift, they're going home with 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, however many $1 bills. Must feel like exotic dancers. I love that. Oh, man. And Matt says, it's crazy because I love the chaos and the bustle, but on the newer Royal Caribbean ships, it's completely different. I'll have that too. Paula says, staff are amazing. They're so attentive and nice everywhere you go. What a great feeling. You got it. Everyone is happy. As I say, once you've got rid of your bags and now you're in line and you get to your check-in agent there, they just want to see your passport. And if you've got a printout of your boarding pass, fantastic. Nowadays, you use your smartphone. It's all on there. And the check-in process is a breeze. I think they still take your photo at that spot. Then they give you your plastic room card. And now you got your room card. On the back is probably your photo. And the room number, all important. Room number, so you don't forget, where am I staying? Because each ship has a different name for each deck. And then, your room might start with a letter or 2 letters, and then your numbers. And sometimes it's like you're like a, H411302. You're trying to remember this. I can't remember my last name. I got to remember this too. So, if it's on the card, I appreciate it. It makes my life that much easier. Anyway, once you're through that, you're now walking through the security check-in, just like an airport security. Go through the X-ray machine, no big deal. And then you're in the waiting area, and they give you I think they give you a little number, a little card, or a little token of some kind. It might say H4, or might be a color, orange, green, yellow, pink. And they start calling out these numbers or colors every once in a while to say, all people with the red token, come on up. You're coming onto the ship right now. Let me just see what else is going on here. Paula says the staff are amazing. They're so attentive and nice. Crash 3X. I like the new bracelet bands over the SS cards. Hopefully our ships adopt the soon. Yes, the bracelet bands. I'm sure they're coming. They're going to make this more and more efficient and slick as it gets. Once you're called on to get on, you're basically walking now towards the gangplank, and boy, that's where the excitement really builds up, because you just filled with this eagerness. We're getting on the ship, and you get to see it. You get to see the darn thing, because you're outside of the terminal building. You're now walking on the gangplank, and usually you're kind of walking along and along, and you're going higher and higher, because the cruise ship is getting you on board on deck 7 or deck 8, and when you by design, they want to wow you right away. So the first wow factor is you see the size of this vessel you're about to get on, and you're already 7 stories off the ground, and you can look down through the windows and see all the crew down there, all the people who are loading the ship up with all the food and supplies and everything you need. and then the luggage, of course, and then you're looking up and you see the top of the ship, which is another 7 to 8 stories high, and then you're looking to the front of the ship and to the back, and it's just massive. These 1,000-foot long, 1,100-foot long, 1,200-foot long monster behemoths. Fantastic. And then you're coming in the doors, and they've got the double doors open up there, and there's the crew, a couple of members of the crew waiting for. They're all decked out in their best attire, and the first thing you do is you put your hand under the sanitizer, and you gotta rub your hands, because there's that virus out there, and they're showing you right now, the minute you get on this ship, they don't want you to get that darn norovirus from anything. And this is just the first sign that these dispensers are all over the place. And I don't mind it a bit. So I'll get my little squirt there and rub my hands, and it dries so fast. And that smell of that hand sanitizer brings it all back to you. Whenever I smell that, I think of the cruise ship. Let's see. Like Matt agrees. Big, beautiful site. Since more and more people use scooters, do you feel they should have dedicated elevators to speed up the process? I find a huge wait every day on board. Oh, that is a good comment. Scooters. What do I say about scooters? You don't want to deny someone the ability to take a cruise. You want everyone to come and enjoy. God forbid I ever need one, and I don't want to give up cruising until I have to. It's one of those damned if you do and damned if you don't situations. I find that the bigger the ships now, the more they're advertised as mega ships with 5,000 passengers, and you see the photos on the travel brochures or on the internet now. We see the promotion publicity photos that the cruise ships are offering us. These ships are huge. The decks are massive, and you just got to think, oh my God, this is big as a shopping mall. This is fantastic. And so the initial thinking is, well, mom and husband and wife are going, and grandma's coming, or grandpa's coming, or grandma and grandpa's coming, and maybe a couple of grandkids, and grandma and grandpa are helping pay the bill here, to help out with the family of 4 plus the 2 of them, and they're using 2 suites or 1 big suite or whatever. And so, for grandma and grandpa, it would be a lot better if they brought their scooter. And why not? And the way these scooters are built nowadays and designed, with cup holders and baskets, and they're ideal for getting around. Unlike a bulky old wheelchair. God forbid you're in a hand-powered wheelchair on a cruise ship. That would not be fun, because one of you is pushing, who. And you don't want to be doing that. And a lot of seniors, they want the independence. They don't want their kids, they don't want to having to be seen, pushed around anywhere, let alone a cruise ship, in public, period. I can understand that. There's that fierce independence streak some of us have. Anyway, these scooters, they're getting smarter with them. They're thinner, but the drivers aren't necessarily the best. So it's all dependent on the driver. But what do you do on the elevator situation? Because sometimes, you'll want to go up or down 4 or 5 flights. If it's just a flight or two and you're going down a flight, take the steps if you can do it, if you're not using a stroller. But if you're on one of those motorized scooters, you have no choice. And what do you do? And gosh, if you designate one elevator for, powered scooters only, and people start using it because it's the first elevator that showed up, then you get mad at those who are using the elevator that shouldn't be using the elevator, and then you get mad at the people who are using with scooters or using the elevator you wish they wouldn't use because they should be using the one they use. Tension and stress. What do you do? Sometimes I kind of wish the elevators on cruise ships were larger, in square footage, and then that way they wouldn't have to have as many. But the design of these units, I'm sure the engineers who figured out the design of these elevators, they know that no more than 10 passengers, because at sea with a moving vessel, the whole thing, we have a 360-degree moving pallet here. That elevator has to function perfectly, and it can't function with more than 15 or 20 people in it. Too much weight. Now we have damage to the cabling or to the side tracks, and so the elevators might have to be the size they're at for now. I don't know. It's one of those, that's a politically difficult subject to talk about. Other comments, let me see. Like the hand station, notice people laxing off towards the end of the cruise. I used them every time, still caught. Yes, you did. Yeah, that's right. Don't you notice with these hand sanitizers, when you go to I find I go to the buffet and there's always a person at the front of the buffet to welcome you and greet you in. And they're always there to make sure you're using that sanitizer machine. And from time to time, you find them irritating, but they have to be irritating. They have to really drill it into us. Use it, use it, use it. Because after a while, people feel invincible. They don't think they're going to get ill. It's been 4 or 5 days or 4 of 7 days on the cruise. Only got 2 days to go. I'm not going to get sick. I haven't gotten sick so far. Well, the reason you haven't gotten sick so far is because all the passengers were paying attention and following the rules, using the sanitizers or washing your hands in the bathroom, or just common sense. But we forget and we get lazy, and then there are some of us who have got a mean streak in us, or we don't give a darn streak in us, and we just we don't follow the rules all the time unless they make us, and then we resent being told what to do. What are you going to do? Now back to this atmosphere on the ship. That first 10, 20, 30 minutes you're on board, you get into that double door, you're hand sanitized, you've been greeted by the staff. They might hand you usually they hand you some kind of a brochure of some kind. Maybe it's today's newsletter, the events that are going on, and what's happening at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, that kind of thing. And or they're handing you a couple of flyers, check out the spa and all of our spa treatment specials, and our, where you can get the manicure and facials, and they're there to sell. Or they're handing you a flyer on trying to get you over to the retail floor and buy some nice perfume or duty-free products that are still not, they're profit-free. They're not profit-free. So you got to watch for that. Hang on, another little comment. So much truth. Terry, you should use sanitizer to get your food, but before you, I agree. Terry, you're right. Welcome to the chat. Fantastic. I see 6 viewers. If you're just joining the chat, or if you just joined, give me a thumbs up and let me know that you're getting the signal okay, so that when I check later, I'll see how many thumbs up I have. Hopefully that's working for you. Back to the atmosphere of day one. Boy, I'll tell you, I just love it when I get on the ship for the first time. Usually you come out in the middle of the ship, right where that lobby is, those beautiful shots we've seen on those brochures, those 4 or 5 story, 6-story high atriums that they have, and the glass elevators going up and down, and the grand piano being played on the lower deck, and the flowers are out, and it's just gorgeous. The handrails look like they're made of brass, and the whole treatment. The big wow factor, and that's what the cruise ships want. They want the newbies, the first timers, and returning guests to come in there and go, oh wow, is this ever fantastic? And you forget almost immediately you're on a ship. You forget the fact that this is a cruise ship that moves, and you're in this gorgeous resort, and you hear the music coming over, filtering over the whole area, and you come to the handrail and you're leaning down and you're looking down 2 or 3 or 4 levels, and you're looking up a couple of levels, and it's just stunning. And now, what do you do? What do you do? Well, if you're carrying, a handbag, or you're pulling a small carry-on type unit, well, you may want to get rid of it ASAP. So, the first order of business might be, let's find the cabin. Let's find our cabin, check out our room. That your bags likely won't be there yet, but, at least you could head that direction. And so you now have to figure out, where am I on the ship? I don't know. Am I in the middle of the ship, or am I in the front, or am I in the back? And what level I'm on versus what level I'm supposed to be on for my room, and how far from here, and where are the nearest elevators? So now, here's the big logistics. Where is everything? And so you may have been handed a map of the ship when you also got on board, or you may be heading to the nearest elevator bank, and the first thing everyone does is they're standing in front of the sign, looking at the layout of the ship footprint, and trying to figure out what deck is what. Are they numbered, or are they named? Lido deck, promenade deck, this type of thing. Sports deck, all that kind of stuff. So it's the proverbial, I don't know what's happening. I'm going to find out, where I am and where I'm going and what I'm seeing and all this sort of stuff. Paula says, Princess Royal went so smooth everywhere we went. I was impressed how all those people blended together without any delays. Maybe a slight delay once in a while. Ice cream parlor always aligned. Yep, that's right. A Crash 3X suggestion, eat before going on board because everybody heads to the buffet. That's another thing they do. Unless you're in concierge class or suite class, you get a private lunch in the dining room. There you go. That's true too. Another thought, if you get on board and you're kind of, you're a bit peckish and you want something to eat, an idea is to head for the pool deck, because they'll usually pull out the barbecue units on the first day, and depending on the cruise line, they now have pizza stations, hamburger, hot dog, bratwursts and frankfurter station, perhaps on the other side on the pool deck as well. And you can get a quick snack, burger and some fries, just to kind of tide you over till dinner time on that first night. How many cruises I've been on? Let me think now. It's approaching 10, something like that. And then I've been on the ocean liner in 1962 and 1959. I did an ocean liner crossing on the North Atlantic from Canada to Germany and from Germany back to Canada in 62. I remember the 1962 cruise, not the 1959. Because in 59 I was 4. And in 62 I was 6.5, getting ready for 7. And I'll tell you, I did a video about that 1962 cruise. I remember the food. I still remember the food. And I remember how my parents would talk when relatives and stuff would come over and visit for decades. 20 years later, like in 1982, my mom and dad would have friends come over for dinner. And, where have you lived over the years and blah, blah, blah. What have you done over the years? And one of the relatives would say to my parents, well, didn't you live in Germany for a while? Weren't you in the army? They'd ask my dad, how did you guys get back? And then the topic would be, well, we got back on the ocean liner. And my parents would pull out the photo album and they would pull out the picture of the Homerick, the ocean liner we were on from Home Lines, which was it was 800 feet long. There were 1,500 people on the ship. The entire band. My dad was in a military band, so the whole band and all the families were on this ship heading back to Canada. And they were talking about how great this ship was and how great the ride was and the food. They were talking about the food. And of course, in those days, you had assigned seating. So you ate dinner at 6 o'clock, or you ate dinner at 7:30, or whatever the time was. And you had to come to the dining room, to the maitre d', and you would then be taken to your usual table every night, the same table. Well, as a kid, I had to wear a tie. I had to wear a shirt and a tie. I'm 6. What the heck's going on? My sister, who's 4, had to wear a beautiful little dress and those party shoes, And my mom was decked out, different dress every evening for dinner, in heels and makeup. I could remember the Chanel number 5 odor, overpowering. And my dad in a suit and tie. I mean, my goodness, I hadn't seen my parents look this good every night on the cruise. But we were in the dining room, and I didn't know until years later, decades later, I figured it out. You all got dressed up for dinner, of course. And you had our same waiter every night, and we had a wonderful meal, 3-4 courses with dessert, you name it. And we kids were spoiled rotten by these waiters and the busboys. It was fantastic, and my parents just loved it. And they made sure we were stuffed nice and full. They had turkey. Give the kid turkey, gravy and turkey, because after dinner, we'll go for a little walk around the ship, Dad would say. We'll go for a little walk around the ship. I'm happy as can be. I didn't know what's going on. And then we ended up back at our cabin around 7:30, 8 o'clock at night, and bedtime. So, my sister and I think nothing of it. We'd get, into our PJs, and, Mom and Dad would tuck us in, and, within 15, 20 minutes, I'm gone. I'm gone. My sister's gone. Where were my parents headed? They were still all dolled up in their finery. Well, every night they went to the dance hall, and they had the live orchestra going, and they had the drinks and the cigarettes and the dancing and the schmoozing and the yucking it up, because all the parents from the army, all the army parents had all their kids tucked in, and now they were all hanging out in the dance hall, and they're all musicians. So they're all critiquing the band on the stage. But these musicians on stage, they played every night, 4 hours, 5 hours, every night. These guys were pros. They were brilliant. My dad couldn't wait to go to the dance hall, watch and listen and dance to these guys. Fantastic. My parents had, what was it, 6, 7 day crossing? They had a 7 day holiday like you wouldn't believe. And we kids, we had a great time, but my parents had a greater time. So whenever relatives would come over, yeah, when that topic came up about that transatlantic crossing they went on, they loved talking about it. They had pictures, like I said, pictures of the ship, pictures of us sitting in the dining room, and whatever. It was unbelievable. That was something. Just see whatever comments I've got. Which line do I prefer? I like. Each has its own, unique feature. I really like Hall in America because of the 5-star service and amenities. I've been on a couple of Norwegian ships. I've been on the Jade and on the Epic, and Epic was brand within a year old by the time I got on it, and huge, 4,200 passengers. Where the Jade was about 2,400 passengers, and I like both of them. I loved certain features of the Jade, and I love certain features of the Epic, and I didn't care for some features of the Epic and some on the Jade. What are you going to do? Princess Cruises. Been on a couple of Princess Cruises, and also on Royal Caribbean. So I've been on a few of the different lines. Got a few to go, and I'll be working on that. Each has its own, pluses and minuses depending on the size of the ship, the age of the ship, where you are on the ship, that type of thing. Let's see here. We just went on a Royal Caribbean cruise, Terry says. The first thing we do is always head for the buffet. Couldn't believe the buffet was closed. We got there 3:30 and it's closed. Oh no! Oh man, each line is different. What are you going to do? I know that they'll do a shutdown for a while because on the first day you got that muster tour. Where you got to do your life jacket thing, and there's no way the cruise line is going to be make it easy for you to have an excuse to miss the muster drill, not the muster tour, the muster drill. So for those of you who don't know, you check in once you're in your room. You have to be in your room. They like you to get your life jackets from your room. They want you to find them, put them on, and wear them or bring them with you, at least hold them, bring them with you to your muster station. And that's listed right on the back, the inside of your door, right in the back of your door inside your cabin. And, it'll tell you exactly where to go, how to get there. And that's where, if there's ever an emergency, you have to go to your muster station for instructions. Well, for the first day of your cruise at 4 o'clock window, usually 4 or 5 o'clock window, just as the ship's getting ready to go, we have a muster tour, and the entire ship, all passengers have to be accounted for. And I think boarding is usually completed by 3 or 4 in the afternoon, and by about 4:30, 5 o'clock, like within the first hour after the final passenger is on board, they then have the muster tour. And on the handheld, looks like handheld phones, really, that these crew members have, when you come to the muster station, you have to have your room key with you, of course, and they will have you scan your room key on their device. And that proves to the ship, the captain and everyone on board, which passengers have checked in for the muster tour and or muster drill, sorry. And I don't think the muster drill is over until all passengers have checked in. I mean, it's that serious. And if they know, if there's 15 passengers that haven't checked in for the muster drill, and they now have the actual instructions as to what to do if you hear this, they'll have the alarms go off telling you what these are, what they mean. They'll find those 15 passengers and they'll track them down, and you are in trouble. Don't miss the muster drill. It's for your own safety. You should know what's going on, even if you're a veteran of a cruise, because things change. You may have been on the same ship 5 years ago, but since you were on that ship 5 years ago, things have changed. They had it into dry dock for maintenance upgrades. They've made changes to the ship. They have changes to the rules now, or to evacuation procedures. You just have to be on top of this stuff. So it's an important thing to do. But I'll tell you, once that muster drill is over, the beeline is on. Everyone's heading back to their rooms to get rid of those life vests. And now, time to change, either to head for the pool, or for the spa, or for the dining room, or for wherever you're going on the ship, that whatever it is you want to be doing on the ship, because 2,500 to 5,000 people are scattering everywhere to do everything. And that's what this first day excitement is all about. This first day excitement is just is so measurable. There's so much going on. You survive getting there. You survive getting on. You survive finding your room. You survive the muster drill. Your luggage arrived, and now you can unpack your luggage and figure out where everything goes and put everything in the bathroom. And the husband's figured out, oh my God, I only have 4 hangers for my stuff. My wife has 30 hangers. The wife is going, oh my God, I've only got 30 hangers for my stuff. And it's just the way it is. Never ends. And it's exciting. And now, what are we doing tonight? And you go out, into the hallway and you want to go for a bite to eat. Maybe you're going to eat in the buffet tonight, or you're going to eat in the main dining room, or you've already been to the dining room to make your dinner times and seating arrangements and all this stuff, or you're traveling with another couple and you're arranging with them. We'll meet you at 7:30 at the so and so, and you're getting together with them, and you're looking around at everybody, and you're, some of the passengers are all in their best outfits. Others are just schlepping around like me in a polo shirt and shorts or khakis, and we're in relaxed mode. We don't care. Where others, the couples are. They're dressed to the nines, and of course, everybody's watching everybody. I mean, it's just that. So that first day is just a fantastic time. Oh, Dylan, you're here. Hey, Dylan, how's it going, buddy? Welcome. Give me a thumbs up if you can get a good signal on my live stream. Epic was a total epic failure. Oh, Terry, I'm sorry to hear that. Oh, I'm sorry it was a total epic failure for you. That's too bad. Matt says, I don't think Norwegian handle people very well. They don't handle crowds on the pool deck or guest services area from my experience. I'll talk to you about that in a second. Terry says, Royal doesn't require that you take your life jacket. Oh, that's interesting. That's an interesting thing. Again, each line, they have their own ways, don't they? Royal Princess at the end of February. I have a question. The drink package for $340. I'm a very lightweight drinker, but I don't want to worry about the buy items that I'm going to drink that much. Dylan, drink packages. I'll talk to you about that too. Let's see, what's a crash drink? I book online at CrewCon on Black Friday every year with Celebrity. Get free drink package. Oh yeah, free Wi-Fi, and this year's $1,000 onboard credit. Way to go, man! I tell you, there's some great sites out there for booking cruises. Matt, one of our Prince of Cruises, we asked what happens if you don't go to the muster drill, and they said they just send a letter to your room telling you what to do. They can do that. It depends on the line and on the captain and on the crew what the rules are. Paula says don't use own life jacket on Princess. Okay. Terry says you can get kicked off for not going to the muster. But yeah, that there can be consequences for this. Princess doesn't require you to bring your life jacket to the muster either. Drink packages. I'm personally not a big fan of a drink package, but then again, that's me because I used to enjoy the social drink once in a while. Now I don't drink much at all. I just drink pop all the time. My wife, however, loves a beer and loves a cocktail from time to time, but she couldn't justify a drink package either. She just couldn't justify it. If you're on a 7-day cruise, for example, and it's a Caribbean cruise or a Mexican Riviera cruise, you got to think about a couple of things. If you've got 3 or 4 stops during the day on your itinerary, you might be off the ship for between, say, as little as 2 or 3 hours for as long as 5 or 6 or 7 hours. Daytime hours, when you're awake, because you don't drink when you're sleeping, generally. And if you've paid for a drink package that runs you, $300, $400, $600, whatever the number is, you got to ask yourself, am I going to drink that much to justify it? And do you really want to put yourself under pressure that I have to drink this much alcohol to justify the stupid price I paid for my drink package? I can't understand why you'd want to do that. The other thing to think about too is that, if day 3 you were off the ship for a few hours and you're in Jamaica and you're on a day tour and you ended up at a little bar and you had like 2 or 3 drinks, a couple of beers and whatnot. You get back to the ship and you just don't feel 100%. But you've got to drink 8 drinks today to pay for that card. You just don't feel good going in. Why are you killing yourself? What's the point of that? Here's the other thing. Uh, Day 3 is a rough day. It's raining and it's a rough day at sea and the ship is heaving a little bit. You don't feel so good. You don't know that when you buy the package day 1, that you're not going to feel good on day 4 or day 5. And you might not have a drink at all on those 2 days. And you know what? You can never catch up and you can never justify the cost of that drink package. I find it really a tough one to swallow. But I will say there are cruise lines out there that will say, hey, look, if you're buying a drink package, uh, the one person alone can't do it. You have to buy, both of you have to buy one. And if one of you is a non-drinker, well, that makes no sense whatsoever. And in my case, that would make no sense for my wife and I. I tell her, just order whatever you want and just add it to the charge on the room and don't care about it. Because day 1 and 2, you might spend 15, 20, 30, $40 each day on alcohol if you're drinking that much, having wine by the glass or whatever. But on day 3 and 4, you might only find that you had one beer and maybe one glass of wine with dinner because we were on shore and we enjoyed ourselves there. And then day 5 or 6, you just didn't feel like drinking as much. And you add it all up. At the end of the cruise, you spent $80 on alcohol for the whole thing, or 150 on alcohol for the whole cruise on the ship. It's cheaper than the drink package. Just so much. And the second person, like me, I bring caffeine-free Diet Coke. This is my drink of choice right here. Look at that. I'm not even paid to do this. Okay, Coca-Cola. This one's free on me. I drink caffeine-free Diet Coke because if I drink the regular Coke or regular Diet Coke, it's got caffeine in it. And I love having my latte first thing in the morning, but I don't need 10 more lattes or 4 more, 3 more for the rest of the day. I'll be bouncing off the walls like a 6-year-old on a lollipop. I don't want to be doing that. So I bring my own cola with me. I like to get to the ship the day before the cruise departs and head to the Walmart or the Kmart or the Costco or the Albertsons grocery store or whatever wherever it is, and I'll buy 2 or 3 dozen colas, for super cheap, 30 cents a can, 35 cents a can, and I'll load those cases in my luggage, and I'll enjoy those colas on board. And when when I'm on the ship, I've got one of those big drink containers that can hold like 2 cans, 2.5 cans at a time. I'll put half of it with ice, pour in 2 cans of cola, screw the lid on, and walk around the deck and enjoy. I'll even take this to the sauna with me. So I'm in the steam room or I'm in the jacuzzi area. I have my cola with me. I love it. And I don't have to buy 36 colas over 7 days at $2.25 to $2.50 a piece with tip. So I save a few bucks. Is it a lot of money? Not really, but it's a bit, Other comments, Crash 3X says, we normally get a soda pack for the week at $50. Then we each bring 1 bottle of wine, bring a glass down for dinner, and pay for individual cocktail when we don't get a free drink package, right? On Royal, they required you to buy a package for both people. But once they got on the ship, they were allowed us to buy just one. That's interesting. Matt says lots of cruise lines don't allow you to bring soda anymore. That's an interesting thing. Although they don't want to go through every bag, believe me, they just don't. Have never had a problem. 6 cruises, 7 cruises, 8, whatever it is. Never had a problem bringing pop on board. Terry says, yep, Matt, Royal doesn't anymore, but Princess still does on those drink packages. And most cruise ships allow 12 cans per person and 1 wine per person in a carry-on. And again, I don't bring anything on the carry-on. I put my stuff. My wife brings 2 bottles of wine with her. I think the last cruise she brought 3 because they were on sale. And so we had 3 suitcases. We had 2 big suitcases and a couple of carry-on types. We checked them all in with the guys at the at the bottom at the terminal when we got there, and we didn't see those until we got to the room. And they arrived. The suitcases arrived. We opened them up. There are the bottles of wine. There's the pop. No issue whatsoever. If they confiscate a bottle of wine from us, or they take it away to give it back to us at the end of the cruise, or they take a dozen of my cans of cola away from me, okay, it's a chance I take. I mean, was it costing me 35 cents a can, $4 or $5 a dozen? No big deal. But if I have to buy, pop, I have to buy pop. I'll tell you, I was at Puerto Vallarta on Holland America and Princess. In Puerto Vallarta, you where the ships go to the pier, we're right across the street from a shopping mall. And in the shopping mall, there's a Walmart there, big one, with a grocery division. And I've been into the grocery store there and bought a dozen Diet Cokes. Can't buy caffeine-free Diet Coke in Mexico, by the way. At least not when I went. And I would carry the cases with me across the street, back to the ship at the end of our, walking around, because we just hung out at the mall across the street. When we were done, I carried them back. They didn't care. Yeah, no problem. Bring a couple of dozen colas with you. Didn't bother, because one would be for my wife, one would be for me. No big deal. So, each line has its own, ways. Let's see what else. Other comments. Terry, Crash X, allow 12 cans. Matt, screw up wines because this is their corkage fee. Crew stop wine. Oh, screw top wine bottles. Good point. My wife specifically looks for screw top wines to take on board, so she just has to do that. Exactly. And the other thing that we do when we check into our room, when we first get there, very quickly you'll meet your room steward, the individual that looks after your room while you're there for the whole week. If there's anything in that bar fridge that's in my room, I have them take it out. I'll just say, would you mind cleaning this whole fridge out? I have stuff I want to put in there myself. And there's no problem whatsoever. They take everything out of there, and I don't have to run the risk of, if I have one of their colas, it's $2.75. My wife has one of the beers, it's $4.50. No, get them all taken out of that fridge. The fridge is empty, and then what do? I put in my 36 cans of pop, and then all during the cruise, when I'm pouring the colas into my container, I'm throwing the empties in the garbage can. There's a garbage can in the bathroom. There's a garbage can in the room near the fridge there. The room stewards, no questions asked. During the day, they come in there, and those garbage cans are always empty. Those cans are gone. The containers for the pop they're gone. Never a problem. Never an issue. No one ever said anything. So that works out very well. Let's see what we got for another comment here. Crash 3X. San Juan, always go to Walgreens at the top of the hill and buy more pop and replenish. There you go. It's spoken like someone who knows what she's doing. You can keep a corkscrew in your suitcase. Yes. That kind of wine. There are YouTube videos out there on how you can uncork a wine bottle without a corkscrew. Take the chance of trying to bang the bottle up against with a running shoe or something. I don't bother with that. One of those twist tops will be fine. My wife, she's a pretty easygoing gal. She'll say to me, "This wine will be just fine for what I want on a cruise." She's not one of those wine aficionados that insists on the finest vintage ever created before I have it. Nothing like that. So that's how that goes. Now, just to finish up here, because I'm running up on an hour. Unbelievable how time flies. Having a great time, folks. I appreciate you sticking around and watching. Love the comments and questions. Give me thumbs ups if you can. The other end of the cruise, the back end of the cruise, that's where the atmosphere of the cruise changes the other direction. Time to get ready to go home. And I can tell you, you can feel it. I'll never forget my first cruise. It was a 6-day cruise, Holland America. And on day 6, it started normally enough. We got up in the morning and did our usual routine. It was a day at sea, heading back to Los Angeles, and had our breakfast, and I went to the spa, and everything's great. But then I started noticing something around 3 in the afternoon. It began. Suitcases standing outside of rooms, ready to go. And they would be standing outside in the hallway for the entire night, because all during the evening, the ship's crew, they were coming along and gathering up all the suitcases for the end of the cruise the next morning. And as the afternoon wore on, more and more and more of these suitcases showed up, and the mood of the ship got calmer and quieter and quieter and quieter, because it's over. It's our last night, and tomorrow morning we're all gone. We all have to get off, and it's over. And oh, it was sad. I felt it. I absolutely felt it. You just feel sad about it. And the staff, they just got to know you, and now they got to say goodbye to you, because you're getting ready to go. And then the other emotions would start to kick in. It was this. You could hear it in line in the buffet, or if you're sitting at a table in a restaurant and you get other people talking around you. And the talk now was, oh, tomorrow we got to catch our flight. How are we going to get to the airport? Did you check to see if our flight's going to be on time? And the stress of going home. Oh no! So you got this coming in, invading into this happy atmosphere. You had all these real world concerns coming back to you, and you just felt sad and a little deflated, So I would take that one last walk on the promenade deck on the evening of my last cruise. And I love walking along the promenade deck, seeing the water go by and watching the waves crash the front of the ship and all the white foam trickling along the side of the ship. And I'd go to the back and watch all the water being turned up by the propellers and the wake and all that. I knew that this is the last night I'm going to do this because tomorrow morning we're at the pier and it's all it's time to get off the ship. And it was a sad moment. um, let's see, what are your opinions on specialty dining? 50-50, depending on the line. Holland America, you don't need to worry about specialty dining. The grand dining room, the main dining room, the food there is so good. I didn't have to worry about specialty dining, really. Norwegian, different. They had the main dining room, but they also had 15 different restaurants you could go to. 4 or 5 of them were no charge. Some of them were a $10 fee, $15 fee, 20 and up. And so it depended on your mood and that kind of thing. I just found in the last few years, specialty dining even specialty dining quality was coming down. My last Princess cruise, I believe I was on, I went to the steakhouse with my wife, thought we'd have a nice steak dinner. I ordered for my appetizer, I ordered prawns. I thought, prawns and the cocktail sauce would be nice. They brought me the little dish of prawns, had 3 prawns on it. 3 prawns. It used to be 5, it used to be 6, and now there were 3 prawns. I thought, how cheap is this? I paid $40 or 40, we paid $45 each extra for this. Not so great. Then the steak came, and I think I had a ribeye. My wife had a filet mignon. Yeah, steak and a baked potato and some broccoli. Whoopee! I thought this is, you know what? We did the calculation. Now we're Canadian, so we converted these American dollars to Canadian dollars. And I said to my wife, back home back in Calgary, we go to Nick's Steakhouse. We can get for $70 Canadian primo dinner, and you know exactly what you're getting, and you left full, really full. Here on this specialty cruise, I was disappointed. I was actually disappointed. So it depends on the line. Some of the lines have a real nice variety of restaurants, and they're reasonably priced. Some not so much. So back and forth. Kind of missed the days where it was just the dining room and everybody went to the dining room. But new ships, new times. I get it. I totally get it. If you got 5,000 passengers, you can't have everybody in the main dining room. No, can do. So of course you have to have places to go, other places to eat. Best steakhouse ever is on Carnival. Book embarkation day, and you get a free bottle of wine. You can get corked and drinks throughout your cruise. Good deal. Think about that. Paula says it's a very sad sight on the last day. Paula says very quiet. Even next day, you can hear a pin drop. Oh, are you right? Recommend spend night before and after the cruise to decompress from traveling. Yep, you got it. Terrible that they try to make you spend so much money when you can get good food for free. Terry, you're right. Like I say, some of these cruise ships, the food in the dining room is fantastic. You get a New York steak. You can have a New York steak every night on the I think it's Royal Caribbean's dining room. An 8-ounce New York strip loin. It's available every night. I don't know why I'd go to the steakhouse then. I don't understand. Terry says, we did a steakhouse on Princess's Fall. I was so disappointed because I can get a better dinner at Texas Roadhouse where we paid $30 a person. You see, you just made my point. You're exactly right. You're right on it, Terry. You nailed it. First bottle to last the whole cruise. Not us. Not my wife. She can't make it on one bottle. Although I will say she brought 3 bottles on her last cruise. She took 1 bottle home with her. She only drank 2. I teased her about that. I said, you bought 3. You thought you only drank 2, but can't tease her too much because she's always right, So what can I say? But yeah, when you get off that ship, the last day, that last morning, what I find is we were in LA. We had parked our vehicle in the parking lot for the week, and I knew that when we got off the ship, all we had to do was walk across the street over to the parking lot, and our van was there. So I said to my wife, "Well, we won't leave the luggage out in the hallway at all. We'll just leave the luggage in our room, and we'll just take the luggage with us and walk right off the ship with our own stuff because we're going to walk right to our vehicle." Had we been flying out that afternoon, or we were going to take a shuttle bus to a spot, or we're going to take a cab to a hotel, maybe we just leave the luggage in the hallway, pick up the luggage the next morning at the after we checked out, and then picked up our luggage downstairs in the terminal and then walked out from it there. It all depends on what you need. Now, if you're in a hurry, if you're catching like an 11 o'clock in the morning flight out of LAX or out of Miami International, you want to leave with your luggage in hand, and you want to get off the ship right off the hop. First thing in the morning, you want to be off that ship at 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning. And so you're going to get up at 6. You're going to head for the buffet, have an early bite to eat if you're hungry, have your coffee, and then make arrangements on checkout because you fill out a form, I believe, as to when you want your checkout time to be, and you're going to be directed to deck whatever at such and such a time, and then you're going to get off that ship first thing, and off you go. So there's a lot of that. Matt says, I think special dining is not for the food, but for the experience and the atmosphere. You're right. Especially, the like the Japanese restaurants where the guys are flipping your food around and stuff. It's great. The Italian restaurants for the mood, the ambiance. I'm into that. If it's really nice, might be worth it. You can get good food anywhere on the ship. Matt says, I agree. Crash 3X says, or ask, how far in advance do you book a flight from Canada to find a good deal? I always find it a hit and miss. Have to fly to Montreal, Toronto, always make connections. Yeah, it's a tough one out of Canada because, we have limited number of airlines in this country and a limited number of U.S. carriers come in. And so it's usually the connection game. If you're flying from Toronto to LA, direct flights are few and far between, and they're not cheap because the airline knows we only have 158 seats, and we're going to soak you unless we can't sell out that flight. Whereas, as an American, if you can fly Southwest or Spirit or Frontier Airlines or JetBlue, I love JetBlue, or even, United American, you get a good flight because of the volume. Sometimes you can get a direct flight from, wherever you're going, from Chicago to Miami or whatever, or even through connections, Southwest with their incredible connections, you can get a much better deal. In Canada, I know I'm checking flights months before, months and months. I'm watching all the time, watching. My wife starts to get nervous if within 5-6 weeks we haven't booked airfare. She's on me. Like, when are you booking? When are we booking? Don't get caught. Don't want to pay too much. So I'm always watching for that. 301 days till our next cruise, but who's counting? No one. No one's counting the 301 days. No one. But tomorrow, 300 days, but I'm not counting it. Paula says, since we were flying home, paid an extra $25 a person to have all 4 bags taken the night before from the room, off the ship, flew Southwest. Way to go. Smart move. Paula says, so convenient, no bags to deal with in disembark. Yes, no deal, nothing to worry about. That is a good idea. Definitely if you're flying the next day. Like I said, if you're not flying the next day, you're taking an extra day in the city, then, there's no rush here. You can just, check out and get off the ship at 10 or 11 o'clock. Let the thousands go ahead of you. There'll still be lineups when you get off, though. You can't avoid it. And keep in mind, of course, the day you're getting off, 2,000 to 5,000 are coming on their exciting first day. And so you're the sad ones. And then you look down, and sometimes you'll notice on the part of the terminal, you see the cruisers that are coming. They're getting ready to get on the ship. They're like you were last week. They're all happy, and they're giddy, and they're excited, and they can't wait. It's depressing as hell. Just the way it goes. What are you going to do? Crash X, I've learned to check for prices in incognito mode, so your computer doesn't track your searches. So you won't find price fluctuations that way. I tell you, that's something I've learned in the last little while, the incognito mode on how to use your computer to not be tracked, because the search engines know, oh, you were looking for a flight deal on Expedia yesterday from Toronto to Miami. Well, we're just going to keep showing you the same airfare, same deal we showed you yesterday, because, why should you get a better deal? Whereas if you go incognito, you're a first, as far as the computer's concerned and the search engines, you're a brand new search and you're looking for a cheap deal and they're going to show you the best price available. I love that idea. That's a really good thing to watch. Really, really neat. Anyway, that's how that goes. So there's your your boarding and unboarding and how to get off the ship, and how the moods change and how the atmosphere changes on a cruise. It's unbelievable. We've had, I see 7 viewers on my count. Fantastic. This is my first live. If you're brand new and haven't sent a message, send us a little message. Let me know that you're there. Tell me where you are. What city and state or country are you in? And if you're getting the signal all right, send me a thumbs up on the video. Let us know on there that you're getting a good signal that's coming through okay. This is my first live, and I just want to make sure everything's working out. Oh yeah, Crash 3X says works for online shopping where every price is issued. Yeah, that's the other thing too. When you can go anonymously, to these search engines, and they don't know you've been there before. You're going to get the honest lowest price available, and sometimes you'll be shocked. You log in on your regular PC and you see what the offer is, and then you log in anonymously what the offer is, and holy moly, what a difference, folks! Cheers, another little sip for me. I've been talking for a while. Love that caffeine-free Diet Coke. Yeah, it's a great way to check for airfare, great way to check for online shopping, great way to check sometimes for cruise deals. By the way, when I book a cruise, I use vacationstogo.com to search for cruise pricing. And I like that website a lot. They don't pay me, but they should. But I'll also go on to the cruise ship, the cruise line's website, just to confirm that the pricing I'm getting on Vacations to Go is as good as on the ship. And sometimes I'll find on the cruise line is something like I'll go to like princess.com or royalcaribbean.com, and I know the ship, I know the date of the ship, where I'm leaving from. So I'll go to the cruise line website, I'll log in there, and I'll go fill in all the blanks as to what I want, and then they'll show me the cruise that I was looking at over on vacationstogo.com, and then I'll find out what their pricing is, and they'll ask, where are you from? You're from Canada? Oh, we'll quote you in Canadian dollars rather than American dollars, and then we'll quote you if you ever cruised before. Oh, you have. Oh, you're a former. You've been on our Royal Caribbean before. Oh, great. Give us your member number. You figure that out if you can remember it. Sometimes you just put in your last name and they go, oh, well, yeah, here you are. Your number is such and such. Welcome back, and then they'll show you sometimes a deal that's better than vacationstogo.com. Surprise, surprise. Because they're offering you a repeat customer deal. They're offering you a subsidized rate or a decent rate because you're a Canadian, because those Canadian dollars, how we fluctuate up and down. And sometimes you find that they'll offer you a credit in your room that might be better. So before I book, even then, I go back to vacationstogo.com. I might phone the 800 number and talk to an agent on vacationstogo.com about the cruise I'm looking at. And I'll say, listen, does that come with any kind of cruise credits? Is there any kind of, better deal being from Canada? Is there, this kind of thing? And you put them through their paces and put them on their computer to see if they can find any kind of offers for you or a repeat customer deal or whatever. And you'll be surprised sometimes that you think that the cruise is going to run you $775 a person, all in, and all of a sudden you're getting prices of $684, and you didn't see that price anywhere. And sometimes you get the surprise on the upside. So something to think about. Another way to kind of double check and confirm. Let's see, I'm just double checking here on messages. Terry says, we use Vacations to Go too. Been using them for about 6 years now. Yeah, 8 for me, I think, or 9. Crash 3X says, compare Vacations to Go cruise line, then check Crucon, that's CRUCON, and you will be shocked. I used to use Vacations to Go all the time, then I did the switch, only in US dollars though. That's what they're quoting. Terry says you get those deals with vacationstogo.com also. Yep, like I say, these, the world has gone online, and so we're no longer limited to that local cruise, the cruise site or the local travel agent in the shopping mall anymore. But there are times where you can use a travel agent locally to help as well. If you get to know, one of the local travel agencies in the mall, you go in and talk to one of those agents. You'll be shocked at sometimes what they can put together for you. Because keep in mind, if you need to fly from point A to point B to get to the cruise, you want to get there the day before. You need a hotel. Then you want to be on the cruise for a week, and then in a hotel for another night or two or three, and then you're going to fly back. You might find the killer deal on the cruise, but you might not find the killer deal on the airfare. You might not find the best deal on the hotel. And a travel agent, you can sit down with them and say, look, this is the itinerary. This is what I'm looking for. If you can give me a killer price on this kind of deal, you can't, I'll do it myself. And they know that. They know you can do it yourself. And so sometimes you might find that the cruise price through the travel agent is $25 more than online or through another site. But if you book the whole package through them, they've saved you $150 because maybe they found you a rental car, before or after. Maybe you're doing a thing like you're taking a cruise out of Fort Lauderdale, but you're going to spend 4 days in Orlando first, and you're going to do Universal Studios, Disney World, and then work your way down to the cruise. And they've got you a killer price on a package there, coupled with the cruise, coupled with transportation to the ship. So, it all adds up and it all comes out in the wash. How can you put the package together that works best for you? Okay. A couple more comments here. Prices can change daily. You're right, Terry. They absolutely can. I've seen that. I've experienced that. I've watched certain cruises where I've picked a couple. I've said to my wife, we're going either on this one, or this one, depending on the pricing. And 8 weeks to go, 7 weeks to go, and then 3 days later, boom, 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 two of them change. One went up, one went down $150. And you're just going, oh my goodness, this is a killer deal. And you talk about it, and you go, let's grab that killer deal, and you jump, and you're in. That can happen too. A couple who got their killer price on their cruise, plus they gave them gift cards for $100 each for their store. You bet. If you have a Canadian automobile or AAA, hotel discounts are great, often better than my military government discounts. There's so many ways that you can save on these various deals. Hotels have their own unique pricing. Car rental agencies have their own unique pricing. Airlines have their own unique and cruise vacations. We're figuring that out as we get on, and the more savvy we get, and the more homework you do, the more it pays. Time is money, though. How much time do you want to put into doing it yourself versus having a pro do it for you? Onboard credit, $1,250. You gotta love this. This is gonna be great. Well, there you go. So there's a couple of deals, also a couple of ways to save money. Folks, here we are, an hour and 16 minutes. I've been yapping away. It says I have 8 viewers. If you've just joined me and you haven't sent us a little message on the thing, send me a little message, a little text. Tell me where you are. What town are you in? What state are you living in? What country are you from? And if you see a little thumbs up sign on your screen, if you're watching me right now and you haven't given me a thumbs up and you got a good signal, send me a thumbs up. Let me know so I can see how many people are actually catching on. I only see a view counter down here that tells me I have 8 viewers, but it seems that about 3 or 4 of us are talking on the text. Thanks for joining me, by the way. It's fantastic. As I go forward here with live broadcasts, I'm going to try to do more pre-announcements as to when the next one will be to give all of you folks a chance to find me because it's sort of a happenstance for some of you that you sort of stumbled across me. Oh, Bruce is live. Let's watch what he's doing. Hopefully, I can do this on a regular basis. I think my next live is going to be this Wednesday. I'm thinking of doing it around the same time, around 2 p.m. Eastern time. Kind of thinking an hour and a half is my length before my voice gives out. Topics will vary, depending on the day and the events, whatever's going on at the time or whatever cruise deals we're coming across. And sometimes just whatever you want to talk about. If there's a subject you have, a question you have that you want to give me, fire away and I'll answer it for you. I hope that this becomes a daily ritual if it works out well. And then I'll be able to just keep you folks updated on all what's going on in the cruise business and all the deals that are coming along. I'm starting now to pay close attention to repositioning cruise season. That's coming up in April and May of this year. And that's where ships get redeployed into Europe, or from some of the Caribbean up to Alaska. The cruise ships will be redeployed out of Australia back to perhaps to Asia, or from Asia to Mexico. I mean, they get shifted all over the place. But a lot of cruise ships will head to the Mediterranean and to Northern Europe for cruises there. And sometimes you can get some really good repositioning prices on springtime repositioning cruises across the Atlantic. Some of these cruises are 13 to 16 days long. Inside room rates from $500-600, balcony rates for $600-700-800 for 14-15 day cruises that take you to Rome, take you to Venice, take you to Barcelona, take you to London, up to Hamburg, to you name it. I mean, it's fantastic. Some of these deals are unbeatable. And it's a great way to combine a cruise with a European vacation, because you find your way to where the ship is leaving from in Florida, what have you. You take a one-way flight on Southwest or whatever, get to Fort Lauderdale, get on that ship, go across the Atlantic, you end up in Rome, and now you take a 2-week time frame vacation in Italy, and maybe some Switzerland. You throw in a little bit of Austria. Buy a rail pass, which I talked about a couple of videos ago. Grab a rail pass and let them take you across Europe. Oh man, the possibilities are endless. You might end up where you end up coming home from London or Frankfurt or from Amsterdam, and you're just buying a one-way ticket home from one of those major hubs back to Canada, the USA, and you booked it in that shoulder season. You're getting the great rates for hotels while you're in Europe. For sites that you see, you don't have the crowds like you would in June or July, and yet you're getting that warm spring weather. So there's some great stuff coming. So I'll be talking about that quite a bit too. Just taking a look here for the last of my some of my newest comments. What do we got here? Crash, that was through Costco, no CrewCon. I got a cruise deal plus loyalty credits. Oh man, you can get some great stuff. Onboard credits. My viewers are talking to each other. It's fantastic. Great interacting with each other. It's fantastic. Making connections, figuring out what the best deals are. Folks, I think I'm going to pack it up today. This is it. I've been going an hour and 21 minutes. I've enjoyed it thoroughly. So far, it doesn't look like I've had any technical breakdowns, so everything looks like it's going well. This will become a regular video later this afternoon, and so anyone who didn't see this video live, or this telecast live, you can watch it at your leisure, and you can fast forward through my yakking if you want, and watch whatever you like. I hope you enjoyed it. Send me any comments and suggestions for future telecasts. And I think the next live will be Wednesday, 2:00 Eastern time. And I hope you join me. And if you know anyone else that might enjoy the live telecast, let them know. And any of you folks who've been retweeting any of my tweets, I really appreciate it. I like to do tweets to tell people I'm doing a live telecast, or I'm talking about videos that I've already uploaded. And if any of you retweet those to others, that would be fantastic. Anyway, we can expose this channel to get more viewers. I love it. On Facebook, if you can share me on Facebook with your friends, that would be fantastic. Thanks again for subscribing. Thanks for viewing. This is it for today. This is Bruce saying goodbye from Traveling with Bruce. Thanks everybody who watched. Again, Paula and hey, Jerome, thanks for watching. Crash 3X, all of you guys who are here today, I really appreciate it. Terry, appreciate you watching. I'll see you on Wednesday on my next live, and I'll be posting a video tomorrow as well. And we'll catch you next time. This is Bruce saying goodbye with Traveling with Bruce. We'll see ya.